fucking name.
Because mine is clearly
And
broken.
sorry to cut you off there, Steve, but hey guys, Gals and non-binary pals, and welcome back to the stream. Today is session 21 of Alandressa. We've just had a week of downtime where the crew have been leveling up. And at the end of this week, we of course now have Halloween! Happy Halloween, everybody! We got there. We got there. It's spoopy season. After today, all bets are off. We have to get into the Christmas feel. Well, today we've got a bit of a skeleton crew, which is appropriate. But yeah, we are down to only 3 members at the moment because 2 people can't be here, unfortunately, and a third is just absent, and I don't know where they are. I assume that they have passed out asleep, but they know that they should be here, so hopefully they'll pop in at some point in the near future. But for the time being, the skeleton crew that we have is Shenby and Steve. We've got the brick crew. How's everyone doing today?
Oi, oi, Cephaloids!
I feel like my hello wasn't scratched there.
Well, your microphone is just it's trying to kill you at the moment. It sounds like it's smothering you because I can barely hear a hair from you. So I've turned you up to 200% now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Hey, you've got the power. I'm sure that you are responsible with it.
I will.
So, what happened in the week that has just been? We have had a week of downtime where people were focusing on their own things and trying to find a way to level up in a way that made sense for them. Because in some people, there's obviously you're going to go for something that you're already a level with. And in others, you're going to multi-class. And in my games, it only makes sense that you've actually done something in roleplay in the lead up to it or during the downtime that you level up in to gain that multi-class. Because otherwise, how the hell did you learn about, for instance, in Isabel's example, how the hell did you learn about the wilds if you weren't in them? Do you get what I mean? Which is exactly why, for the last week, we've had so many people going off and doing these new and exciting things. Ash went into the forest and stared at the twilight sky and found that not only is there reason to be a druid of the night, but there is also reason to be a cleric of the night. And so now Ash has got a combination multi-class between 5 levels of druid and 1 level of cleric. But that level of cleric is exactly the same subclass as Briar. The two of them are Twilight Clerics. Briar just took another level of the same. So, being that those are 2 people who are not going to welcome in Mars, by the way, because those people are going to not be with us for this session, or at least most of the session. I don't know whether Tats might be able to get in time for the end. It means that they are going to be going off and talking about their clericy things. Ruby took another level of monk, trying to refocus your ki and settle your mind on a goal and try and calm your emotions from everything that happened with killing the Sandman, essentially, Olukoi. Isabel found a way into the wilds and saw a lone winter wolf walking away from its pack and was able to interact with that wolf in a calm way and then found a connection to nature through that. Aldrin took another level of sorcerer, but also did so by going out into some nearby brush and finding an endless supply of venomous and poisonous frogs and trying to collect them and introducing others into that same thing. And of course, you've seen people walking through Kashala Port going east. You don't know why or where. And when asked, the person who stopped, the Yuan Ti who stopped, answered, well, it's that time of year. Now, what we haven't resolved so far is Victor, because Victor wasn't able to be here last session, and so Victor's week of downtime is still up for debate. We also said that because Victor is just going for another level of rogue, that Victor would be able to ask either 2 questions that you would get a sort of middling level of answer to, or one question which you would get a very strong answer to. And I don't know whether you've changed your mind since, Steve, but when we last spoke on Discord, you said that you were going for the one question. Is that right?
Yes. Like as much detail for one stuff as one stuff.
One
Jesus.
stuff. One
One
question.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, essentially you're going off and investigating. And that's what your rogue focus is, isn't it? It's not you're not a stealth character who pickpockets. You're an investigator who goes and tries to understand things better, which I think is why the mystery and the enigma of the sessions so far has been so frustrating for Victor, because Victor can't get any concrete answers just yet. So I think that this session, if you ask the right question or word a question in the right way, then you might just get something that gives you a concrete piece of evidence to start moving forward with. You do also, of course, have these people going east. They're traveling sort of at the start of the week. They were traveling sparse in singles, walking, apart from each other, maybe once every couple of hours. But then towards the end of the week, it was in ones or twos, and it was about every half hour. They just passed through. The group have then ended their week in the tavern. We'll see at the end of this discussion with Steve in a moment what the whether Victor would be in the tavern with them. But essentially, they've asked Theo what's going on and why people are here, why people are walking through and going in the east direction. Now, the other thing that nobody has been doing during this week has been trying to talk to people, be a counsel for people in the party, try to rest their concerns or worries, and then midweek left to go off and investigate things for themselves. The question of why are people. I believe this is the question that they went off to do. Unfortunately, I didn't have the spoons on me to make any notes last week because I was still quite sick. But yeah, they basically have decided that they're going off to investigate why you guys have been able to see the dead, essentially. Like why you're able to see not the dead, but things like Valkyries. Why you're able to see the Sandman and things like that. Like why are you able to see those things? And they hinted at the fact that it might have something to do with whispers that they've heard before of those who are touched by death get to see things like that. You will see death. You will see the carriers of your soul if you are, touched by death, near death, and so they're going off to try and find the answers to that. Is it literally that? Is there more to it than that? Is it metaphorical, etc., etc., etc.? So, with all of that down, and we have figured out what the recap for the last week for everybody else was, Victor, how do you think you might have started your week of downtime?
I think that a lot of pacing around and scratching of heads and such.
Scratching other people's heads or your own?
Uh, my own.
Fair
My
enough.
own.
Fair enough. Just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I did say heads, to be fair. Yeah, I think a lot of kind of frustrated, like scrollings in his notebook and flicking back through pages and sitting and then getting too kind of worked up to stay sat down. So he would
Geo! Ruff, ruff, ruff.
pace around for a while, and then whenever people would try to talk to him, he would kind of begin replying to them, and then like his train of thought would go off somewhere else, and then he'd like
Yeah.
hurriedly like run off somewhere to look at something, kind of thing.
Okay. What kind of resources do you think that you're looking for in or around Kushala Port to investigate?
I think maybe like you know how like in towns there's usually like older people who know more and they know all the tales of the town.
Yeah.
Maybe like a historian, or I don't. It doesn't seem like the kind of place that would naturally have a library.
Okay.
So unless there's a library, I think it would be more kind of gathering of like trying to find out where the local like wise men are and such around the port, like Because yeah, that doesn't seem as though it's the type of place, with it being quite small, to have a library. Because I don't think a lot of places would,
Right.
unless they're huge cities, right?
So there's a few things that you recognise immediately. No, there is not a library, but there are plenty of wizened people around.
Yeah.
So in the town there is a blacksmith, because of course.
Hmm.
There's a like a butcher's shop. There's a magic and enchantment shop, with like low level potions and items like that. Nothing like major, but it's there. There's a public baths. We of course at the end of last session had Ruby speaking to Leopold in that baths at the end of the week. This is the start. Then there's also the chapel just behind the tavern. Next door to that is the like town hall. I guess it's like a meeting hall for
Mm.
people, and alongside that is like a storehouse. It's sort of a generic storehouse that's used for all of the businesses, where it's like grains and mead and crockery and there are some books in there, but like nothing like to the levels of an enormous city or a palace or anything like that.
Okay. Okay. I think the main ports of call, because it seems to be like the things that have been cropping up and following them. I think the main places would probably be like the temple slash like cleric kind of people,
Cool.
and the magic shop, I believe, would
Yeah.
be the thing that made the most sense, so we could get a feel for that, because the things that are happening aren't just kind of normal mundane things.
All right. Yeah, cool. Would you want to go to the chapel first or to the magic shop first?
I think Victor, being not of the religious persuasion, would probably try the magic shop first.
Okay, then I will take
Although
your
he's not
token
of the
there.
magic persuasion either.
So here
But
on
that, I think,
Foundry, you
makes
can see that there is it's like a sort of a very simple level magic shop. There's not very much in here as far as wares go, but there's just two simple guys that work in here. Both are like any other retail store basically. Hello, hello, come in, come in. You're looking for supplies. We can offer you supplies. Where are you headed?
now I'm not entirely sure.
Oh well, we've got
Um,
something for everybody. I'm sure that we can cater to you. Philip, get the door. Get the door. He lets you in and closes the door behind you. You feel that the cold draft sort of ends. You're not quite sure how or why, but it just feels like you're suddenly wrapped in warmth, like a blanket. And the guy that
Lovely
stood in
and
front
warm in
of
here.
you, hi, hi, hi. Um, I'm
Oh.
I'm Jacob, and this is my store. Um, what can I help you with?
How does this guy look? Old?
No, he's quite young.
Young? Okay. Okay. I was looking more for information. I do have some friends staying in town, and we will likely be in before we depart to browse your wares and such. But I was wondering if you could maybe share a little information with me.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
we've had a rather
yes.
we've had a rather um confusing and full on couple of weeks, and I feel sometimes the best way to work through any kind of quandaries you have is to talk to people.
Yes, yes, of course, of course. Um, well, yes. What questions do you have?
Um, so first of all, we since when we got here. There's do you know anything of a Sandman?
The Sandman? No, no. It's a
Lucy
Oh.
Ryan
fairy
posted
tale,
a
is it
cloud
not?
chat.
See, that's where the
Lucy!
problem lies.
Fucking legend!
We keep bumping into these fairy tales, and I am not of a magical persuasion, so I was wondering if perhaps you would be able to help.
Well, truth be told, I'm not really into the magical persuasion myself. I I really just started this store so that there was something that I might be able to offer in a town with nothing of magic in it. I've come to realize that well, there's nothing of magic in it for a reason. People don't usually come to this part of the world.
Mm, that's good business sense. Do you know of anyone in the town that may be able to help? Perhaps somebody with a little more um, experience and knowledge on these matters. No offense, obviously.
No
Myself.
offense taken. Honestly, no. It's perfectly normal for you to surmise that I might know something of it, but I don't. Unfortunately, It's just not really me. I've not really been here long myself. I've probably set this up about a year ago, but from what I've seen, the people who go looking for answers or for support tend to go to the chapel, or to the baths. There seems to be, a difference of opinion across the two, but I guess it's just your luck whether the person you're looking for is happening to have a bath at the time. So I might suggest that you go to the chapel. That would be my first port of call. Sorry, pardon the pun. Don't mean to make a port joke.
I appreciate both the joke and your assistance. I will bring my friends by to browse your wares when I'm a little less pressed for time.
His eyes light up. Oh yes, yes, yes. Please do. We at the Megorium Emporium we're very happy to accept any and all comers. Any currency that you might use. I know that some people come from other planes of existence. I'll take those as well if it's any easier for you.
Yes, that would be very helpful. But
Yes.
I must for now be on my way. I have some questions to ask.
Oh yes. Philip, the door. And he opens the doors up for you again.
Did I get a sense that they were being forthright with me?
I think that you get a basic vibe of he's a bit of an inept person at business, and he just wants to do well by people, but is too shy to try and do the hard sell. He's more of the person who's interested in making you happy than selling you shit. He's the exact opposite of Rumpelstiltskin. If you wanna use a parallel within the same world.
So I don't need to murder him then. Cool.
I mean, that's your call. He's got commoner stats, so you could probably do it with your dagger.
No, that's cool. It's cool. I've got beef with Rumpelstiltskin, not him.
Yeah.
Okay, then I will make my way to the chapel.
Okay. The chapel then is over this way. The doors are closed, but you're welcome to open them. You see that there's sort of some of the snow has been brushed aside as the doors were opened recently, on an outward way, obviously. So you can tell that someone has been in there today. Where you're stood right now is the baths. These are the public baths.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Down here is the chapel. Right here.
That was the one that was illuminated on my screen. So I was like, oh, it must be that one. But I was just clicking on the wrong thing. Cool. Okay. I recognize who it is? Like what deity it would be? Chapel 2.
Yes, you do. It is Njord.
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 Okay, cool.
Njord.
Cool. I will. Would I know if there are any kind of customs as I enter that I should observe so as not to cause offence?
Give me a
From them?
religion check.
Yeah, cool. Whoops. Religion. I'm okay at that. Okay.
With a 15, yeah, you know that it's normal to wet your boots before you enter the chapel.
To wet my boots. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then I will scoop up some snow from the side of where it's been swept and kind of melt it in my hands and like.
Now that you get down towards this level of the ground, you start to notice that some of this sweeping aside of snow is not necessarily all from the door. Some of it looks like there's fingerprints in it. So, like, a big. Some people have
Like
just
some
gouged out a bunch of snow themselves in the same manner.
Okay, cool. Um, then I'll do that and wet my boots with the melted snow in my hands. I'll try and warm it up and like breathe on it and
Yeah.
such and like yeah, so I can wet my boots as I prepare to walk in and then take a step inside. Kind of
Lovely.
quietly, like politely, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not gonna like Aragorn double door it, smash my way in. I'm gonna like push the door open gently.
Okay. The door comes to easily. It's heavy, but as are most of the doors here, where they're trying to keep the wind out. It's quite a chilly place otherwise. And you head inside.
Cool. Um,
As
I
you take your
will.
steps in, you see that there's a lot of sort of sailing regalia. There's like the masts of old ships have been used as joists to prop up the ceiling as pillars. Some of them come short, but they're not really there to add structural integrity. They're more to add clerical integrity. You see that the pews are all made of the wooden beams of shipwrecks of grand galleons and ancient Viking longship kind of things. There's lots of like imagery and paintings and murals all over the walls, but they're painted with some kind of unusual ink rather than paint, and it's hard to really grasp what it is just by looking at it. The images are, of course, of like waves and placid oceans and storms and seas, but also of the people in them, not necessarily all in boats, but also swimming, and the fish underneath, and the gulls above, and etc. etc. At the front of the chapel, you can see that there is a statue, which is clearly of Njord, or how people might picture Njord to be. And stood to the front as well is a cleric who I've realised I've not added onto the scene, so give me one sec. But you also see that there is a cleric. Let me just quickly create a character.
Magically appears a cleric before your eyes.
Yeah. Well, as they are wont to do. You see that there is a cleric up at the front who is wearing sort of rough-hewn wools with thick sort of sheepskin lining underneath it, and like a singular sash that goes around the waist. Very similar to the way that nobody dresses, but in very different colours and very distinct fabrics. There is like a hung insignia around their neck that's carved out of wood also, and strung up with a length of leather string. They appear. They have the sort of physical features of what looks to be a sort of anthropomorphized humanoid raccoon, and they appear to be female.
Okay. Okay. I will approach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, would I with would I know if there's like a, a greeting as such to give to said cleric?
With the 15, no, you would not know that much.
Okay. Then I'll just approach and I'll bow my head and say, good morning.
They look up at you, raise their eyebrows in sort of hello, and then look back to what they were doing.
Ah, apologies. Am I interrupting?
No,
Should
not at
I?
all. No, I'm just getting things ready for later. If that's all right.
Yes, yes, of course. I
What
didn't
what
wish to
what
intrude.
can I help you with? Is there anything you need to
Um,
talk to me about?
I was I was kind of looking around town for some information on some magical matters. And
All right.
the
She puts down
fellow
her
at
book and walks over towards you.
yes,
The
the
one of the
fellow
other
at the
commoners
magic
goes behind the altar and
suggested I
starts pissing around with the book.
okay. Um, the fellow at the magic shop suggested I come to speak to you. I was as it wasn't his area of expertise.
Right, yeah. No, I can see that. He's not really all there, I don't think. He came to a town of fishermen to try and sell them magic stuff, and I don't think he really realises the economy in this place isn't really built for that.
No, no, I wouldn't imagine. So I would assume
You
that he's
don't really
relying on
seem much
trade
like
for the
a
goods.
sailor yourself, I've got to say.
I'm
What
I'm not. I'm not.
what is it that brings you here?
Um, a lot of strange occurrences, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
Um,
Shall we take a seat?
we
Let's come over
yes,
here and take a seat so we can sit in comfort and
thank you.
quiet. We don't really have any other rooms in here, so I'll just sort of keep myself away from James and Toller over there.
Okay, okay, they seem harmless enough.
Aye, well, Toller's the younger brother, but James looks after him. He's not quite all there himself, but in a different way, if that makes sense. So
Mm,
I try and keep him around so I can keep an eye on him. But then James likes to keep an eye on him too. So the two of them sort of they just help out around here. Anyway, sorry, that's too much about me.
mm,
What can
no,
I
that's
help you with? You're asking about magic.
um, yes, me and my friends have been traveling for I don't know a couple of weeks now, and we have had a number of occurrences. I'm not. I'm a city boy. I don't really dabble with magic and spirits and gods and such.
Could I ask you? Sorry to
Yes,
interrupt.
of
Do
course, of
you
course.
do you by any chance have any kind of interaction with cheese? Because I'm really getting a whiff of it off you. Most
My
people that come in
friends.
here stink of fish or salt, but you stink of cheese. Is that normal for
Yes.
you?
It's a bit of a bit of a ongoing. I don't know. Theme. A lot of my colleagues are big cheese fans, so we tend to carry around rather a lot of cheese. So I may just have some
Right.
in my satchel, and that may be what
Oh, yeah.
is.
It
I'm gonna
could
have a little
it
look.
could breathe
And
that.
I assume pull
Hey,
out like
hey!
wedge
Did you
cheese.
see what I did there? Sorry, I'm not very good at the
That's good.
jokes.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, no, no. That was excellent.
You so yeah so cheese yeah. Sorry, I lost where we
Yes.
were. What were we talking
No,
about?
we were talking about cheese. But before that, we were talking about our travels and how we
Right,
keep
yeah.
bumping into what would normally be deemed fairy tale creatures.
Oh, what's that then?
There's been an awful lot. The most recent one was the Sandman in this very town.
Oh, Sandman. I don't really know who that is.
Um, well, neither did I until um our friends, a couple of my friends went into the orphanage, and he appeared to be attacking the children. So we intervened, and then it all got a little out of hand.
Right. So what does he do then, this Sandman? Does he make like
Um,
sand castles? I've not really seen a lot of sand myself.
I
You'd think
think
I would
he
being on the water's edge, but it's all mud down here.
Yes, it's very snowy and wet. But I believe he's like a caretaker for the dreams of sleeping people. And there was a big
Right.
misunderstanding and a big fight, and
Yeah.
yes, and he's no more for now, I believe. But I feel somebody like that would be um kind of permanent, you know?
Permanent? What do you mean
Yes,
by
like
permanent?
forever, like immortal, like
Oh, ha!
spiritual
There's no
assist.
such thing, lad.
I
No, I
mean,
think you've got the wrong end of the stick. Nobody's immortal. Everyone can die, even the gods. They just live a
ah,
long life. They keep themselves alive with ambrosia. Even Njord we pray to, because he's a god and all that, but
mm,
he's really just lives a very long life. You could kill him just the same as I could, but of course we don't, because
I
he's the
would.
one that gives us good seas. And that's
Yes,
about the only thing we've got going for us around here, so
yes. I don't
yeah.
wish to take your fishing.
No, I wouldn't think that you would. To be honest, I'd be surprised to see you on board a ship.
Now do not look the part.
Not really, no. You've got a long coat, lad.
Is that not good for sailing?
Absolutely not. You'd get caught on all kinds of lines.
Oh, then if
Hooks as well. People
go
do a
fishing,
lot of
I'll be
fishing
sure
on
to take.
fishing boats, believe it or not.
Okay, then
Yeah.
I don't go fishing, but I'll bear that in mind if I
Hey,
do.
listen, it's just to keep you safe. I'm always about that, me.
No,
Look,
I
I don't really
appreciate it.
know much about this whole seeing fairy tales, whatever those are,
Mm.
but I've heard of people seeing weird and wonderful things, and I know that sometimes in certain places or in certain realms, or if you're interacting with certain beings, then yeah, you might
Yeah,
be able to see more than you're normally able to. But usually those people die pretty quickly, so we don't really get much to hear from them.
right.
Is this becoming
So
more and more common for you?
if yes,
I will
that's
say a
good.
prayer for you
Going
to
to be
Njord
the
then.
case.
Hope that he
So you
sails you away to somewhere nice and safe.
okay? So you think we're in danger? That
Well,
we're
like I
about
say, no one's
to
really
frighten?
immortal. I think that everybody dies eventually, and it just seems that
Ah,
the best places for you to be right now might just be the safest ones. But eventually you'll die anyway. So what's the difference between now or in 100 years' time?
I
You'll
mean,
be
I'd
dead
rather 100
eventually.
years time. I have a few a little unsettled business to take care of, so I would rather the 100 years than say tomorrow morning.
Ah, I understand. Well, are there any other queries that you might have that I might be able to answer?
Um, would you know anything about a spider?
A spider? I
Yes,
suppose I might, yeah. What would you like to know about the spider?
about a spider that enters people's dreams and
Yeah, I know the one.
how if say if one of my friends were to um be in league with said spider, be
Yeah.
given power and gifts by said spider, would they be in danger?
I
And if
wouldn't
I'm
say
friends
so,
with them,
no.
no.
Doesn't
Okay,
seem like it to me, no.
okay. Is are they telling the truth?
Give me an insight check.
Cool. Let's go.
With a 20, yeah, you could tell that this person is basically that they are, they seem above board.
Okay. Okay. Um.
I've heard a bit
Okay.
about
Well,
the spider. There's a lot of people that
yes.
have come through here, and of course, I talk to people about all kinds of things. But like I say, people who seem to see these things tend to be on their way to the grave before long. I don't know much about the spider besides the fact that, well, it's older than the gods that I worship, and that it's not particularly active. I wouldn't say it doesn't really go out and about causing, wars and things. It's sort
Yeah.
of more placid than that. But then that makes sense why people call it the spider. Because spiders don't really go on big rampages, do they? They make a web and then wait for things to fall into it.
Yes, this is very true. You're very wise.
So I
If I
reckon
were
that if
to,
your friend is getting power from this placid spider, then maybe they just need to be careful where they tread. But so long as it's not on a spider's web, I should think it's probably all right.
yes, yes, it's very sound advice. If I were to, I don't suppose you'd know of any magic um, to stop creatures with such powers getting into my dreams.
I imagine that people have probably tried to research that over time, and there's probably a lot of people who have managed to succeed. But if they've written it down, it's been lost forever because I've never seen anybody succeed. But then it might be because we really derive our power from the same forces that created the spider in the first place. So it's hard, really, to say once and for all what the right answer is. Because if that power essentially comes from the same source of power as the spider gets its, well, it's probably more likely to know where that power is and how to interact with it. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it's older than us and smarter and more powerful. Understood.
I wouldn't even necessarily say that it's more smart than you. It's just been around for longer. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean? There was someone who
yes,
used to be a cleric in this chapel before I was, who I used to look to for advice myself before I was
right.
persuaded to go on the clerical path. And there had been a cleric here for many, many years. They were here for probably about 200 years, but they were an elf, it made sense. And they
Okay.
weren't particularly clever. They'd just been around for long enough to see the reality of things. And the wisdom that they had, they were able to pass on just because they could remember it. Doesn't make you intelligent, doesn't make you any more wise or clever than anybody else. Just means that you've been there to see
It's
it.
more
And I reckon
experienced.
if you've got
Yes.
a creature that's as age as old as time, it's probably been here to see a lot of other people's mistakes and learn where not to tread itself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If there's one thing that
Yes.
you can
That
always
sounds good.
guarantee, it's that a spider will never get trapped in its own web. If you can figure out how to get a spider trapped in its own web, well, then it's fucked from the start, isn't it?
Yes, yes, very true. Very, very true. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I'm Penelope, by the way.
I
Penelope
was just about
Ringtail.
to ask.
Yes.
I am Victor. It is
Victor, it's nice to meet
lovely
you.
to meet you. Yes.
She punches you in the middle of the chest.
Yes, you've been very, very kind and hospitable. I do appreciate it. Oh, thank you.
She sort
Thank
of
you.
stares at you. Well,
Okay. I do the same back.
you are green behind the gills, aren't you? Bloody hell, that took a while for you to smack me back.
Sorry, sorry. I'm not from these parts. The customs are a little rusty on me.
Fair enough. Well, if you see a sailor that's wearing something like this and jolts up the sigil that looks like runes spelling out
Mm,
something, just if you ever see someone wearing something like this, either in a tattoo or around their neck or stitched into something, just as like a part
yes.
of their appearance. That some of them even shave it into their beards. It's that crazy, isn't it? Imagine having a word like sort of semi tattooed on your chin. It's kind of fucked up myself, I think. Anyway, if you see somebody looking like that, you go up and give them a solid punch in the chest.
Right. Thank you.
Give me an
Again,
insight
thank
check.
Okay.
She's
Natural
dicking with you.
20.
She's
Okay.
absolutely
Oh,
playing a prank on you. She's trying to fuck with you.
ah. I kind of chuckled to myself and
Oh, I could tell that you're too clever for me. I'm sorry. I'm a
that's
bit of a
really
prankster,
unfortunate.
and I could
That's
imagine you walking up to a sailor and punching him in the chest, and them twatting you on back. And I thought it might be funny. Never mind. It's not. Don't worry about that. That's just me
I
being
can
silly.
probably handle my own against most sailors, I would hope.
Oh, you'd think you've not seen Hjolder. Hjolder's a big lad. A big lad. He's around here sometimes.
Okay. Then I will be sure not to swing for him when I see him.
Oh yeah, I think that you'd probably struggle to reach. To be honest, he's pretty good, is old Hjolder, but he's also fucking big.
Okay. Okay. Then I will avoid striking him in the chest at all costs.
Sounds like a sound idea to me. Look, I've got to get back for the evening vigil preparations. It's that time of year, you know what I mean. We've got to get everything ready.
What is the vigil for?
Oh, it's just something in the area. There's some people that worship a certain thing, and it doesn't really go down very well sometimes here. So
Ah,
the last sort of decade we've been doing some evening vigils where everyone comes over to here. It's not for tonight. It's for in a few days' time. You know, end of week. But yeah, when we've figured it out, then everybody comes here and they all sort of sit together and we have a nice fish supper at the end of the night. It's just a way that we can keep an eye on each other and make sure that we're all doing okay. Does that make
and
sense?
yes, Gamma, may I ask what it is they worship that isn't
I've
seems
honestly
to have just
never been
been
able to figure that out. But I'm
right.
sure someone around here must know. Like I say, I've been here for long enough to have seen a lot of this stuff. But even decades is not long enough to know everything. So I'd say that potentially you should probably just, I don't know, go and find out yourself or ask someone who's been here longer.
Okay. Okay. You've been very helpful again. Uh, it's very appreciated. Thank you.
No, no problem.
And I'll like bow my head a little as I get up to leave.
She stands up as well, trips over a little bit on her
Mhm.
sort of vestige stuff, and sort of smooths herself down and walks back up to the front. Toller, you're doing a grand job there. James, are you all right? Yeah, it's just he's a little bit, he's having a bit of a clumsy day today. Ah, well, let's not worry about that. And you hear their voices drift into the background as you walk down towards the tavern again, I assume.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
at this point in the week, you would still be staying in the house over behind the dig site. Um,
Oh,
yeah. So I'll put the circle on the map for you so that you can see where that is. Um, so yeah, if you come over here, you should be able to just see it.
yeah, it's this one down
Yeah.
here. Isn't it?
So that takes us. Let's say that takes us about halfway through the week of downtime. Is there any, passing it back to the rest of the group here, are there any of you who would be talking to Victor sort of midway through the week as well?
In truth, Ruby would have kept to herself mainly.
Probably coming and going. Aldrin would say hi, check in, give updates on findings in the area.
Yeah.
I think I would kind of let them know who, like, that I'd been around and been talking to people, and that I'm just trying to get a lead on what we're doing next and on my case.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think I
Isabel,
might
any
have.
kind of interaction yourself?
I would probably be sticking my nose in a book,
Fair
as
enough.
usual.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So then
Yeah.
we'll get through this part and we'll move on to the latter half of the week. So that you've just spoken to the cleric about, that is not necessarily that question that you have been seeking an answer to. That was just your interactions with the people in this town. Now we will get on to the actual question that you want to ask me, and what concrete answer you would like as part of it. We can, once you've asked the question, we can figure out from there. We'll sort of, backtrack and unpick it to find out exactly how you figured this out yourself.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. What did I type originally? Sorry, my brain's not.
It's okay.
grasping that.
Brains be braining.
So, yeah, I think it was the main kind of cusp of the question was like what was going on, and why it was affecting them. So I think something along the
Well, you do
lines
also
of
know around the middle of the week, this is when nobody would be walking off to find that information for themselves and then report back with it.
yes.
So it's up to you whether you want to go ahead with that and ask that question, or whether it's whether you're happy for nobody to come back with that answer later and you ask a different one now. Either one is perfectly fine.
Would I? How sure would I be that they would bring that answer?
What you missed last week was that nobody has been quite shaken up by this whole thing of the Sandman. That they feel that they are responsible for it, and that the sands of time and fate only swept this way for your party to come down here and do what happened, and for her to participate in it, because she gave you the prophecy that something was going to happen down here that was bad. And she said, like, basically, if she hadn't got involved, then there wouldn't have been a reason for you to be here, and everything would be fine. And to be a death cleric and to be on the bad books with death itself is a pretty bad thing for anybody to be in, you know. So she's quite, her integrity is intact, but she's still quite tenacious about wanting to go and find out the answers to why you're able to see this, because if nothing else, she wants to be able to help your party, because she feels like she fucked all of you over as well. And then it's her fault. So that was the kind of feel that you got from her when she was here at the first half of the week. At this point, she's not here any longer. She's gone off with that as her goal, and she will be back when she's got something. But she wasn't able to give you a time frame. She just said that she will find a way to get in touch with you.
Okay. Then I think I would, because that is probably going to kind of cover why we're connected and such, and what is going on that side of things. So I think because I'm kind of a little desperate to have return to a tiny shred of like normalness in what we're searching for, I think Victor will sit and try to figure out what the next stage of his original investigation would be.
Okay. As in,
so like where to pick a thread up, or who would be like the next best person to talk to. Out of everything that he's figured out, how is the murder of Big Red like connected to this, and what would be like the next thing to kind of like the next person to speak to, or the next place to go to pick that thread back up.
Okay. I'll take that as a two-part question then.
Okay.
Because that's sort of two questions in one, if you like. So like, how does Big Red connect to all of it, and what's the next step? Okay. So, from what you've seen so far, you can easily piece together that there is a kind of a secret club. And that this secret club is that they are the people who were chosen by who you don't know, chosen why you don't know, but they were chosen to sort of hold these sigils, metaphorical and whatever, metaphorical and metaphysical, I guess, to hold back the dawn of Ragnarok. That they are essentially the pillars holding up the sky. That if they die or if they decide to bring it down on purpose, then Ragnarok will happen. And what next is partly twinned with this is who does that benefit? And the main person that you could think that it might benefit would be Loki. Because when Ragnarok happens, it all gets triggered by the fact that Loki gets free. The moment that Loki gets free is when Ragnarok happens. So essentially, these four creatures, these four people, are holding the world together to the point that he's unable to get free. But when they're all dead, or they all choose not to do that anymore, then they will essentially have given Loki free reign to get out of his chains and start off Ragnarok. So it would be Loki who would be the person to find out. To be honest, be the person to find out.
Okay.
So the next step would be to try and find Loki or find those responsible for the killings and see who's giving them the orders.
Or so the cult of, I can't remember the call. It's in my notes somewhere, but I'll find it.
The Acolytes of the Hollow.
Yes, those guys.
Yeah.
Did we find out where they were based already?
You didn't, I don't think.
No, not yet. Okay, cool. Cool, so they're the next.
Unless somebody else knows of the answer to that and can correct me, but to the best of my knowledge, no, you don't.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if we'd found out. I think we found out who they were, but we didn't find out where they were.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, so they would probably be my next. And of these pillars, we know of just the one that's been killed, or was the mayor one as well?
It wasn't the mayor, it was Sir Curly. So Big Red and Sir Curly are both they are both pillars, yeah.
Yeah, and they're the two we know of.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Sir Curly is not dead, right? No, he was.
No, Sir Curly was dead, yeah. He
Mayor
was dead in
escaped.
one of the
Sorry,
first
the mayor
sessions, yeah.
escaped. Sir Curly got killed when we were looking for the mayor. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so there's two of them dead. Right. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
That's cool. Okay, so yeah, you sort of get that information by just piecing together everything that you've been investigating so far. I don't really feel like you need to go off and find a person to do any of that investigating yourself. I feel like that's just sort of
my notes.
exactly. You're just sort of synthesizing all of the information that you already knew into something that's more tangible, more usable, and that makes sense, really. So yeah, you get to this point in your investigation, and we reach the end of the week. I feel like now we would sync up with everybody else, and you are now in the tavern with the rest of them, I would assume. Where you have come in with the rest of them to try and ask some information of our man here, and see exactly what the answer is to why all of these people walking through the town are headed east. Could you tell me, do you think, would you be inclined to also speak to one of those people? To ask them why they are going there personally.
I think I might make an assumption from what my cleric friend told me about there being like a vigil and such, and there was like a big event going on with some people worshipping something, and I would have shared that, I think, with the group.
Yeah. So the vigil is in the town, though, and these people are walking through the town.
Yeah.
To get somewhere else.
The vigil was essentially to protect them against something that outsiders were doing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I think I would assume that they're probably connected and suggest that to the group.
Right. So you suggest that to the group, and you are all now together. You may all now interact as you would. But yeah, essentially we've got Theo here at the table who is about to tell you the information about what's going on. This was our big cliffhanger at the end of last session. Where do you want to start?
Is that to just me or to everybody, sorry?
Everybody's here. So you're all here, you can all talk. Don't all shout at once, eh?
Right.
I thought we were just going to listen to the answer.
I asked you the question, where do you want to start? What's the... I don't want to talk at you
Oh.
for the whole session, so I'm giving you the opportunity to
You
talk
didn't-
now so that you can... Yeah.
You didn't do it in an Australian accent, so we didn't know that that was in character.
Yeah, I didn't ask it in character, I asked it as the DM. That's why I didn't do an Australian accent.
Instructions unclear.
It's from the-
Got
Where
them back to
do
your
you
portable
want
hazard.
to start?
Well, I feel like the issue is we don't know what the start is, so it's hard
What-
to answer that
Okay,
question.
what question would you like to ask this guy? Maybe if I word it that way. So that I have a picking up point to go from, instead of just talking endlessly. What question are you going to pose to Theo?
So why are these hunter type people heading into the forest? What is the purpose of that?
Oh, well, it's not really what's in the forest, it's what's beyond it.
What's beyond the forest?
Well, have you looked at a map? There's a whole nation over that way. Highfall. They're headed there.
I wonder what's there that's got them intrigued.
No need to wonder. I've been
Still
over there
what's going on in
myself.
Highfall?
I've lived there. I've lived here in Kashala for a long time. I've been over there myself. I'm sure that you might have heard that some things go wrong here occasionally. Well, some people put it down to the weather and people just trying to wander out of the place and freezing in the wastes, but it's not always the case. Unfortunately, there just happens to be, at this time of year, there's something that happens over that way that I just might have seen. And it's not pretty, and it's not nice, and people get hurt. But that's the idea.
Right. Would you
They're
mind...
headed over to Highfall.
Would you be willing to share what is going to happen over there, or is it something we should find out for ourselves?
You see he goes completely pale and has obvious clamour on him. You know, he gets very clammy. He says, I wouldn't suggest you go there unless you have business there. Look, it's not really something that I like to talk about because I've got people that I would ask this of myself, and I'm not really the kind to go out of my way to try and, you know, undo time, if you like. I know that it's futile to think about it, but the thing is, they have this ritual over there, and the part of the ritual is to bring back someone who's died. And Loki, if he feels particularly gracious, will grant it to one person. And that one person will get their wish to have that person back. I didn't really see much more. I don't really know how it goes or how they get chosen. All I know is that every person I've ever asked for the last couple of decades that I've been living here, whenever I ask what's going on over there, their answer's always the same. It's that time of year. Like they were drilled into saying it. Like there's an answer that I don't know. And I just wish that I knew what the other part of it was. Like a password, you know? I've never witnessed anyone say the correct answer, though. I thought I heard it once, but it didn't make any sense.
you heard?
Oh, I think it was something along the lines of dance and cheer. There was something else that came before it, but I don't know. Hello, something like that. When the hello dance and cheer. I couldn't tell you, to be fair.
Would any of us know?
You wouldn't know off the top of your head, no, but you might be able to decipher it. It's really up to you now, trying to figure it out.
No idea. Yes, I'm not. I've not heard such a thing. Do we go and follow them and try to figure it out on the way?
I mean, that's the best way of finding out, isn't it?
Do we
Generally,
need
yes.
to go? Is that the right course of action to go there?
I feel like whatever we think the right course of action is has kind of fallen by the wayside a lot, and we've been pushed. And this seems to be maybe a big nudge in that direction. But I don't want to force anybody to go anywhere they don't feel safe.
How about a show of hands? Anyone who
Sure.
thinks we should go, raise your hand.
Victor puts his hand up.
I do as well.
Aldrin, do you put your hand up? Ruby, do you put yours?
Ruby will just go with the democratic decision, so she won't.
Aldrin, Mars, are you here? Hello? Are you muted? Are you asleep? What's happening? Mars?
It seems like they're
Yeah,
away.
I'm here.
Oh,
Hello? Do you
Hi.
agree to going to see what's happening?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Without Ash or Briar here, I think that we'll just take their names out of the ballot list, so that it would be a
Yeah.
vote out of 4 people, and 3 out of 4 have said yes. So we'll say that yes, you are going to go there.
Yeah. Ruby abstained anyway, so it would have been majority going.
Fine.
I would say though that we shouldn't jump the gun this time.
Yeah. Maybe let's not punch first.
Sounds like a fair thing.
Should be cautious, I think.
Do you gather your belongings from the house now and head off?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we're
Victor, you would know that this is the night that it's going to happen, and it's starting to get dark. So if you're going to see anything of this, you would have to go at some point soon. If you're going to make it to Highfall in time.
I
haven't
I
shit in
believe
Goblin.
it's tonight, so we should go or we'll miss it. Yes.
Okay.
I'm ready to go.
Then I will take you over to the next map.
Excuse me.
I'll tell you what, I could just copy and paste from the last one. This will be great.
While this is loading map-wise, does
Yeah.
anyone have any clue about the saying? It's not something that's, other than it's clearly a rhyme, it's not doing anything for me.
Oh, you know me and riddles. We go hand in hand. I'm very good at it. Not.
Okay.
No, nothing's jumping out at me just yet.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
where you're stood, you can obviously see the surroundings at this point. However, I'm going to make it darker now because it is, in fact, getting on towards the twilight time, and the main areas that you can see lit up are the braziers and the lights on this large tower. You can see that there is one long stone wall. This long stone wall was not here when you last came to Highfall, only a couple of months ago at the start of this campaign, Victor. This is newly constructed. Also, you don't recall there being this many guards around, but now you see that there are guards on top of the battlements of the wall, and also on top of this enormous tall tower, which is like 60 feet tall. There is what looks like a border crossing at the top end of this map, where you can see that a line of people have queued up to get themselves over the border. There are two people who are stood on guard on that border crossing, and they are just interviewing each person as they come in to see whether they are going to be able to pass.
This would be easy by the looks of it.
You know what Theo said in the tavern.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's that time of year, when the hallowed dance and cheer. I'm assuming this time of year might be something when the veil is a bit thin. Maybe that's what he's meaning. If they're planning on bringing someone back from the dead, maybe it's easiest when the difference between life and death is smaller than normal.
Yes, and that would explain a lot of things that have been happening to us.
Hey, Pestilence, welcome into
Yeah.
chat.
Valkyries.
Yeah.
The thing you just
Well,
said rhymed, by the way, so I don't know if that's the way in.
well,
How
if
how
we
far are
get
we from
if
the
we
gate?
get
Sorry. If we get a little closer, I might be able to catch what they're saying.
This is a very good point.
Let's
You
do
are
it.
too far away to hear anything at this point.
Yeah, I can also lip read reasonably accurately. Do we?
Let's go.
Is everybody like wearing the same stuff that's going?
No.
No, they're just going in then what would appear to be their normal clothes.
There are some people who are dressed in certain clothes, but they're all basically just dressed for winter. There doesn't look like there's any particular uniform.
Yeah, no like robes or anything weird like that.
No, nothing like that.
Okay. Then we should probably approach normally. I guess.
Sure.
Is anybody paying us any particular attention? I'm assuming is there people like milling around as
It's
well?
quite dark at the moment, and no one's really paying that much attention to the surroundings near them. They're more looking at what's ahead. But as you are walking, you do notice that the snow underground is quite crunchy. So probably getting any closer than this, you'll either be noticed or you'll need to roll stealth. But the line does continue past where the edge of this map is at the top. So this person here might appear to be the very last person in the queue, but in actual fact there is more people to the left, off into the distance. They're all just making a nice orderly queue.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a while for us to get in if we join the queue.
Yes.
Should we just join the queue? I'm not sure if we want to. Do we want to sneak in? There's a lot of guards.
Yes, might draw more attention than we would hope. Rather than just going in with everybody else.
Should we just ask somebody a question?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, perhaps we should
Why do we?
ask somebody in the queue. Maybe they would.
There's a
Yes,
few people in the
I'm-
queue. You can see each of them.
Mm,
You can't really see very well in this darkness,
no.
but you can see that there is a bunch of people all the way along.
I may go and have a little walk just over to the start of the queue and then come.
Yeah,
back.
just move your token to where you want to go, so that I know exactly where you're going.
I'm gonna come kind of over here, and did you say the gate was this bit between the?
So
the-
what you're seeing here is that there essentially is like a raised section up from the ground where the wall passes underneath it at a certain point, but this is like it's like a really solid, thick wooden structure with like a roof over the top of it. These guys are obviously not stood on the roof; they're underneath it, but that's just to show you where the two guards are. There's steps leading up to it, and they're beckoning people in one person at a time, and there's just the two people here who are like talking to them before they go through.
Okay, then I will walk just kind of as nonchalantly as possible, a little closer to see if I can.
Nonchalantly, yeah.
Yes. I'm not trying to like obviously sneak, but I'm just looking
Right.
as though I'm maybe like stretching my legs a little,
Okay.
so I'm having kind of stroll around the area,
Sure.
kind of observing the queue and stuff, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna see if I can catch what they're saying.
Well, first of all, would this be more performative or deceptive? Are you
Probably.
putting on a show like an actor, or are you trying to sort of lie with your body language?
Yeah, more the second one. I don't think
Okay.
Victor's that kind of guy.
Right. Well, so these are two guards who are very, very astute with these things. They are on active watch for who might be trying to hoodwink them. So this DC is going to be difficult. It will be a 30.
Oh, I can't get anywhere near that.
Give me a try, and we'll see how badly you are away from it. A 5.
Really badly.
So you got a nat 1. So they, one of them just looks over, laughs to himself, and looks back over towards the person that they've called in. They walk up to the top.
And I'll just kind of head back. I think because I think I would probably know that he's seen me.
He looked straight at you and laughed. So yeah.
Okay, then I will head back and let everybody know. Yes, the guards are definitely paying attention. I don't know if we
Are we joining the queue then?
queue to get in or.
I
The
mean,
person that just walked up gets turned away, and they head over towards one of the fires.
oh,
They stand there and warm their hands against the brazier.
that's nothing
One of us
macabre or
talk to
anything.
him?
Are you our best shout, Victor? I'm not sure I'm the best at talking to people.
I think the guards might be because they seem to be aware of me being here
Ah.
now.
I can go then. I don't mind.
I mean, I don't. I can just go up. They know I'm here anyway. Like, what harm is it
Yeah.
going to do? Perhaps if we, I'll go and see if I can stand next to this. Was it this person at the top here?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll like start to warm my hands by the fire and be like, "Oh, you didn't get in."
No, not this time.
What did they say?
Oh, they ask me the same thing as they ask everyone.
This, forgive me, this isn't my first time. What should I be prepared to answer? If you don't mind sharing.
If I knew that, would I be stood here?
Yes, that's fair. Did they ask you a specific question?
Well, yes. Have you not been here before?
No. It's my first year.
Wow.
I'm new.
I come here all the time. I want my wife back.
I'm very sorry for your loss.
Yeah, she was great.
Yes. And they asked you for a password, I assume.
He narrows his eyes. I don't know how much I should be speaking to you.
Sorry, I'm just trying to. I lost a dear friend recently, and I was hoping
Deception
to sort of
check.
bring. I did lose a dear friend recently.
Did you indeed? Was your boss a dear friend? Okay. Give me a
Kind of.
persuasion check then. If you truly believe that they were a real friend, then give me a persuasion check.
My only friend.
26 against his insight, and he sort of drops his face a little bit and looks at you with open eyes. I'm sorry to hear that. Losing a good friend is too common these days.
Yes.
How did they die?
They were attacked. While they were alone.
Oh,
So
the coward's way. I understand.
yes. So I was hoping to bring them back, and then perhaps I can um have a little chat with the person that hurt them.
Yeah. I killed my wife. It was an accident. I don't mean to kill her, but I did. And I'm being pursued for murder. But if I can make a living again, then there's no murder to pursue.
Ah, that's a difficult situation.
Yeah,
Indeed.
you tell me. I've been trying this every year for a long time. Never heard the, how you say, password.
Is there? Is it? I assume it's going to be the same every year. But if you don't know it, then you don't know it. It will be inside. But I I appreciate you
Give me
chatting
a
to me.
perception check.
Hmm. Perception. Okay.
18. This person walks through, and you also hear part of what they said. You hear them say, when the hollow dance.
Um. I must return to my friends, but it has been pleasant speaking to you. I hope you're successful at some point. And I'm gonna just
Yeah.
bow my head, like nod my head to him and return. Um,
You, as you walk away, you hear another person being beckoned up to the two guards, and they also get asked, it's that time of year. Um, okay, you head back to everybody.
so I think the strange murder man wasn't particularly helpful, but I overheard a little of somebody getting in, and they said when the hollow dance and cheer.
Look who's arrived. Ash is now in with us.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Welcome in,
Hello.
Tats.
Yes, I don't know if that's the whole password or just a part of it, but I don't think I'm going to get much more information out of him.
Then should we join the queue and maybe hope when we get there we have a better idea?
there are worse ideas. I don't see another way of us moving forward. Maybe we just try saying that when they ask us, when they say it's that time of year. Maybe we just say that and hope for the best.
Well, let's go then.
Okay. You're all heading up towards the line?
Aye.
Alright.
What is this line? I just got back.
Okay,
There
so sushi.
it's a line of people who are going over this border to the east to get into Highfall. Essentially you've figured out that on this evening there is a sort of a ritual, a feast, a festival, something of that nature, where essentially people get to ask Loki if he can bring back one person that's died. And the person who gave you this information was Theo, the guy who runs the tavern, but he doesn't know much more than that. He doesn't know how people are picked. He only knows that there is like a call and response password system, and that essentially it goes, it's that time of year, and they expect you to answer with the accurate way of responding. But he never knew what it was. He only ever heard dance and cheer, and he couldn't figure out what came before it. Hallowed, the hello, something like that. And Victor has only just overheard someone saying when the hollow dance. And that was the first part of what he heard. He didn't hear the end of it. So you're now headed over towards the line. Bearing in mind that I'll give you just a moment to organise yourselves how you would want to go in. I'm going to go downstairs because I've realised that I've left a bunch of chocolate next to the radiator, and I don't want all of it to melt. So, because then I will be the worst house on the street for Halloween. So I am just going to give you a moment while I go and stop all of my chocolate from melting together. To figure out what order you're going in, but I will also remind you, as one final Halloween favour, that one of the guards saw Victor.
So Victor not in front is probably a good idea. Not good idea. Is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
As
follow
a side note, just thinking about the response, instead of cheer, could it potentially be when the hollow dance in fear? Could it be fear instead?
I think it's cheer because dance, and you don't dance in fear usually, do you?
I think I agree.
Fair enough.
I lean more towards cheer.
Okay. How are you all organising yourselves in line?
Ruby, how about you go second in case we are wrong, then you can use your password.
Yeah.
Sounds
I'll
fair.
go second.
Only because we don't
Take
want
that.
4 of us to get it wrong before you get it right.
You bump into the commoner in front of you, and they sort of shuffle awkwardly. They look around. Hello? Can I help? Are you okay? Sorry. Am I in your way?
Was I first? Sorry, I was just moving my guy up. I didn't know if I was going first.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
yes,
they
please.
I
they
thought you
take
were
a
going
step away
last,
from
weren't
you.
I think it might be better if I go first, just so we can kind of get it over with if they're dicks to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Basically.
Brian takes up the rear.
I'll apologize to the person before us, and then I turn to Ruby, and I'm gonna whisper. Maybe I should tell them. Maybe I should tell them the password. To see if they get in, and then if they're unsuccessful, we'll know.
I whisper in response. Sounds good to me. Go for it.
I'm gonna take from my book. I'm gonna write the password
Yeah.
on a little scrap of paper and tear it out of my book, and then I'm gonna tap the guy on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Hi. I'm terribly sorry to bump into you. Please,
Well, it's that time of year.
It is indeed. And I'm okay. When the hollow dance and cheer.
Oh, you're here for the same thing, are you? Good. Good. It's nice to see
Yeah.
people of a like mind on the path.
Yes, indeed. Indeed, it's my first year.
Is this your first year on the path?
Yeah, but,
Wow.
I'm hoping for good things. Yes.
Yes, yes. I remember my first dance. It's truly a really great experience, I must say.
I scrunch up the piece of paper and put it into my pocket so I'm not passing it to him. Like,
Yeah. Give me a sleight of hand to see how well you can hide it without him seeing.
sure. Where's that? There we go.
Once you've done this, Ruby wants to quickly speak to Victor as well.
Sure.
16.
Let me do perception check. Which is actually just flat anyway, so didn't need to bring that character up. There we go. Okay. He doesn't seem to have noticed. You slip it away in your pocket, being careful not to like scrape it along the fabric so that it doesn't make that sound that paper does when you try and slide it somewhere. You've clearly hidden paper from people before. And he essentially just sort of looks at you, nodding with eyes wide open, smiling. So, first time on the Dance of the Hollow Path. What an exciting time for you. Who brought you here? Who is it you're seeking to bring back?
Just a friend.
A friend.
She was
Very
suddenly
good.
Totally taken away from us. So yes. And how about yourself?
Oh, well, we needn't worry about me. I'm always here anyway, just to participate in the festivities. I just love to be here, you know. I've not once been picked by the Great Lord, but I do seek his counsel occasionally. I would take, you know, an answer to a question just as much as I would the you know, a loved one.
Yes, of course. Then enjoy.
Thank you.
Almost returned to
Oh
the
yes,
first
the queue seems to be moving forward. Sorry, I should move
Yes,
with it.
please,
Please,
go right ahead.
don't lose your place. Don't lose your place.
No, of course not.
Another person goes up and gets turned away. You now see that there are 3 people by this fire. The next one walks up, and they start having their conversation. As that all happens, the queue is starting to widen in front of you. If you all just move up together, then I will just move you up together. This person at the front walks up to the front, and they seemingly get let through.
Ruby wants to speak to Victor, please, if possible, before this queue keeps going.
Yes. I think
So,
we have the password.
yeah, but is this going to be a... This is about the Hollow, and he said, is this the first time you danced, or remember the first time he danced? Is this a meetup of the Acolyte of the Hollow?
I believe so, and I think that is the path to finding out what is going on.
Okay. Are you sure you want to be here after what's happened with your friend?
I mean, my friend is gone, and I can't change that. So I was thinking perhaps if we were chosen, which for some reason feels like it might be really likely, given everything that's happening to us, we ask to return the Sandman.
The friend I was meaning is your orc friend that we found
Ah,
at Sir Curly's. She was an acolyte of the Hollow, was she not?
she was, yes. But she wouldn't speak to me, so I don't know if she'll be here or if she'll be willing to speak
Okay.
to me or be hostile if we bump into her, but I don't see how we have another source of information currently.
Okay. Just wanted to check.
You see that the
Yes,
person who was in front of you has already gone through the checkpoint at this point. They turn around and wave to you as they go through. Now, as you approach, what's your step like? What are you walking like? Does this just look casual? Are you walking with any kind of purpose? Is there any kind of difference or shift in your gait? How does this look to an outside observer?
I probably won't hide the fact that this is my first time, so I'm going to walk up tentatively as if I'm not sure what I'm doing, as
Okay.
a newcomer would be.
Yeah. I just feel like, when
Looking
you're,
around.
like IRL, when you're in customs, like you're going through an airport or whatever, everyone's sort of very self-conscious of their walk suddenly because you're suddenly like, well, what if they do find me out for something that I didn't do? It's like that kind of a feeling, So I'm kind of
What if
trying to
they kind of-
elicit that mood in all of you. Like, how would you be feeling when you're walking up to a customs officer in a fantasy realm?
Ruby is just very conscious that her feet are cold on the snowy floor, so probably is like constantly shifting her feet, which probably looks very nervous, but she's got cold feet.
Fair enough.
My feeling is
Aldrin's kind of uncomfortable and doesn't necessarily want to be there, but is needing to go that way, so is standing in
Yeah.
line and heading towards the place anyway.
I have that feeling
very
that's
wary.
yeah. I feel like I know there's not a bomb in my brief suitcase, but I worry that they're going to find one somehow.
All of you are, I think, paying attention to your surroundings while all of this is happening. Everyone give me a perception check. Who would like to, please?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let's go, big one.
Perception.
This is a high set of perceptions, man.
Yeah,
This is
that's
nice and
really
high.
high. But the DC that I set was 20, and only 3 of you got that. Ash definitely with a
nat 20.
27, with a nat 20. We love a natty 20. Isabel gets 19 on the die, and Victor gets 18 on the die. So very, very high numbers here. You can hear one of these guards. It's the shark person, which is it's like an anthropomorphized shark species called a Sahwagin. He is turning towards the other guy, who is just sort of like a regular-looking humanoid in plate armor, and he's saying, "Oh, there was a guy earlier who was trying to listen in on what the answers were. Can you believe that? Oh, well, we get them every year, don't we? Well, yeah, but I know, but it's still ridiculous to me that people listen in on this kind of thing. No one's ever going to try and come up here when they know that we, have been seeing them in the fires. I mean, of all places to hide right in the only light source in this whole... It's so silly, honestly, it's so silly. Now, you could surmise by hearing that, Victor, Ash, and Isabel are the 3 people who heard that, clearly. You could surmise that perhaps you've got a few moments to do something about this before you approach. What would you care to do?
Put the belt of Steve on. Put the belt of Steve on.
I put the belt on.
Okay. So we're gonna move Steve onto the field. Just for anybody who hasn't seen Steve yet, this is Steve. And I think it's brilliant that Steve is dressed as Steve right now. So,
Are you going to do the voice though, Steve? I set a precedent.
What was the voice? Do I have to make one
Did
up
you-
for him?
It's like
There's no voice that comes with it. There is no voice that comes with it, but you can do a voice yourself.
I did a Santa voice.
Yeah, you can do a voice yourself to sort of
Santa
pretend to be it, yeah. So yeah, you're dressed as Steve right now. You've put the belt on, and this illusion comes up to cover you completely. So Steve is now your guys. Thanks to Lex for that one. And yeah, you can walk up.
Oh no. Yeah. Okay. So I
I've made everybody. I've
Right,
granted
pull,
everybody
hold on.
ownership of this token, by the way. So if you're
Okay,
using this
cool.
token, then you can actually just drag the token. Everybody can. I'm
And-
expecting everyone to start dragging the token around now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So you all walk up. Next, please. Next, please.
Oh, that'd be me. I walk up and nod to them. 'Cause
The
I can't see what I look like, can I?
not from the
So I think
inside. No.
yeah.
Yeah, you
I
can't
think
see
I'm a
from the
little
inside.
nervous. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So as you all walk up, you can see that there's a few people around the fires now. One of them's over here on his own, and three more over on the left, and they're all sort of chatting to each other. The Sahwagin points over to you, Victor, and beckons you in with a single, hand wave.
Yes. I approach.
Mm-hmm.
Again as nonchalantly as possible, and I nod to them as I get there, kind of waiting for them to say something to me.
The Sahwagin looks at you. This was the one that saw you earlier by the fire. They narrow their eyes in your direction. It's that time of year.
When the hollow dance and cheer.
They're quiet for a moment. And the veteran steps to one side.
I walk in, like briskly, but not like I'm rushing, if that makes sense. Like I pick my pace up a little bit to get, and then I just turn and look back to my friends, as I get past. So I'll be over here somewhere, I guess.
Lovely. Okay. So I'm assuming that the rest of you are going to follow suit up the ramps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So one at a time, you go up to the guard, and the Sahwagin asks, "It's that time of year." Isabel, what's your answer?
When the hollow dance and cheer.
They nod you on. Ruby's turn. Just move you guys up to this room. It's that time of year.
When the hollow dance and cheer.
They nod you through. Ash's turn. It's that time of year.
When the hollow dance and cheer.
They nod you through. I think we're getting on to being the last few people allowed to cross now, aren't we? Let's start closing the border for the night. Next two! You'll be the last. They call you up, Aldrin. It's that time of year.
No hollow dance and cheer.
They nod you through. Briar walks up. The Sahwagin puts a hand on their shoulder, as if to stop them. They look behind at the rest of you. It's that time of year. Briar repeats, when the hollow dance and cheer. They narrow their eyes at each other, nod, and take a hand off Briar's shoulder. And you all get through. Now we get to the scene itself. So, we're going to reuse an old scene that I had from the last week that we did this.
Bless you.
Thanks, I was coughing, not sneezing, but I'll take it.
It's been good.
How dare you? Is that better?
Bless me. So we move over to the forest scene. You're all in the forest. You're all able to move in the forest. You are around. We've got Steve dressed as Steve, Victor in Steve garb, and of course there are people around too. There's bugbears. There's chulls. There are commoners. More commoners. More commoners. There's of course cultists. There's a goblin and a hobgoblin. A knobgoblin? Yeah, a knobgoblin. There's what looks like an owl bear. That could be a druid. You don't quite know. There's a few Sahwagins as well. They seem to be just keeping things together. And of course, there's a couple of veterans. There's even one zombie stood over by one of the colder parts of the map. He's just sort of like looking around with a slack jaw at everybody. Not moving anywhere, but just sort of like taking in the surroundings.
Not quite that guy.
I'm curious, out of us who can't see in night very well.
Dark vision.
Yeah, dark vision.
Yeah, who does
So
not
when you
have
click
dark
on your
vision?
token, if you get a circle
I
around
think
it,
it's
then you have
Isabel.
dark vision. It would be
Yeah, I
three,
think it's
well, two
Isabel
of
who
you.
Yeah.
doesn't.
So
I
Briar
don't.
and Isabel. Briar and Isabel.
Okay, well,
Human.
I'm going
We suffer.
to do this.
Eyes of
and
Night.
share it with both Briar and Isabel, so they can see as well.
So then, for the purposes of this, we'll turn this night to day, so that I don't have to go into your settings and change it back and forth. But yeah,
Alright.
you start seeing this place as if it is regular daytime, because this ability that Ash is able to grant people now actually grants you 300 feet of dark vision for the next hour. So those that Ash is able to grant this to can see just as well as Ash can in the dark. And now you see everybody here. You see that there are people all over the place, that there is there's like a small stack of wood that's sort of set up somewhere where people are trying to put together some kind of like a bonfire of sorts. And there's just a lot of people like stacked up together trying to talk and just, interact and all of that. And then eventually someone walks over and they cast this thing alight. And yeah, you see that the zombie starts walking over to you guys, shambling slowly. Hi.
Hello.
Insight
Hi.
check.
Insight
Are
check
you really a
immediately.
zombie?
Insight check. Okay, insight check. A 4. That's a nat 1 that Aldrin got on an insight check. Aldrin, you think that this is the devil. This is evil incarnate. Ash,
Where
you
are
don't think much
you?
different. He just
Compared
walks
to
over to you and
me
just
right
sort of
here.
his bones don't seem to be particularly well connected anymore. Like all of the the connective tissue
I don't know why
is.
Steve moved.
Yeah, you just got to deselect it by clicking elsewhere.
There we go.
Um,
I fixed it.
Yeah, so
Run
all of
away.
the
I'm hiding
all of the
behind
like
Victor.
all of the like connective tissue to hold the bones together seems like it might have gone a bit lax over the years. And this zombie looks like they've seen quite a few winters, judging by how sort of blue and calloused and hard that their skin has got. Someone's got a phone on vibrate.
I heard that as well.
And
Apologies.
yeah, they turn. They basically just like notice that Aldrin and Ash have walked away and walk up to Isabel this
run
time.
away, screaming. And
Oh,
hid
you're
behind
running away.
Victor.
They walk
I
over
can
to
go
Isabel
behind
this
Isabel.
time and just sort of go. My name's David.
David?
You cut out and all I heard was David.
My name's David.
Oh, hello. My name is Isabel.
Most people called me Badger the Protector.
You died in a line of duty?
You could say that. I was sleeping with my mistress.
Oh, that would probably bring that on.
Yes, of all the ways to go, it's certainly one, isn't it? He laughs and some of his teeth fall out. Oh,
Oh,
there goes some more. I'm here to ask for myself to come back to life. How about you?
we're hoping for a friend to come back to life. I think.
Oh, yes. A lot of people have that. Anyway, the fire started. So, get ready to dance and cheer. His tongue falls out this time. Oh! Oh! Oh!
Ooh, feel
He
bad for the guy.
starts sort of reaching over to try and pick his tongue up off the ground, but doesn't do a very good job. You start seeing people walking over towards the fire to make a circle around it. There are people who are dancing over. There are people who are singing their way over. Some people are just walking. The chul, which is a giant locust-like sort of like a lobster creature, goes over. The owl bear, of course, as well. There's just a bunch of commoners, and Ruby's doing backflips. Another Sahwagin goes over. Some more commoners.
That's how I'm going over. I'm backflipping over. Ruby seen
Nice.
dancing, she went backflip.
Love it.
Hey,
So,
Ruby, I have a question. What do you think would happen if we asked to bring you back? You said you had multiple you, right? Would all of you come back?
That's not a question that bears thinking, Aldrin. I'm not sure how many rubies there are.
That would be weird. A whole lot of you?
I'm not sure I need more twins, triplets, quadruplets. Ruby gets a pained expression on her face.
Should we make our way over there?
Is it time to dance?
I don't know,
people
yeah,
have
I
already
know.
started
From the
dancing and moving
zombie.
around the fire and stuff.
Away from the
Oh,
zombie.
no.
Yeah, the zombie is still trying to pick up his tongue. As he leans forward, his eyes sort of fall out of his skull and dangle on stalks. So he ends up not being able to see anything. So he's just sort of like patting his hands around on the ground trying to find it. It's a proper like horror show, honestly.
Okay,
But a very funny
Ruby,
one.
because Ruby can punch things.
Pretty seasonal. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not particularly great for this. But yeah, he's certainly having a day. Yeah, Murmurs is right. It's certainly having a day. Briar goes and helps the rest of the crowd. And what's left is now Steve. Are you still dressed as Steve, or have you changed back to Victor now?
Wouldn't really specify if I
Are you
all of a
dancing
sudden
as
just turned
Steve?
back to Victor. So I think I would have just
Stay
stayed
as
as I
Steve.
was.
Stay as
Yeah.
Steve.
Okay, Steve it is. So, you all move over to the fire. And everybody dances and everybody's singing, but no one is singing the same song. No one is dancing the same way. Nobody seems to be dressed the same way, even. There are people here who are clearly dressed up in robes, but others who have just come in their day-to-day garb. Some people are dressed in armor. Some people are clearly here in animal form. And of course, there are different species of all kinds. There are bugbears, there are hobgoblins, there are the Sahwagin. There's all kinds of different people here from all kinds of different parts of the world, and you can tell that by the way that they dress. Some of them clearly came from the Summer Isles. Some of them have come from more wintry places. Some of them seem like they might be from other realms entirely, even. And as you sort of gaze around the fire and you see this patchwork of humanity and of all of the other species within, all dancing and singing in some discordant harmony, you start to notice that the winds have died down and the stars are starting to brighten and then swirl and turn in the sky. And as they turn in the sky, the smoke from the fire gets pulled up into it. and then essentially the fire extinguishes on the ground, and the sky fills with a swirl of flames around it. And this swirling continues and continues until eventually, snap! That dark section in the middle of it all becomes a scrying mirror, and you can essentially see a reflection of the ground as you look up. You see everybody stood around you, you see everybody around the fire, but each of you does not see yourself. You just look up and you have no reflection looking back. And this shimmering mirror sort of does that House of Mirrors wobble and changes into a distortion of itself until essentially it becomes a dark figure in a dimly lit hollow. Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
What is it that I can bring you?
Well, I think we were trying to get a friend back.
Where are you looking as you say that, Aldrin?
Probably at the frame of this mirror.
Okay. Where is everybody else looking?
Ruby, I imagine, is bowing her head in more of a respectful stance, so isn't
Okay.
looking at the thing.
Where are you looking?
Would have
Do you
done
have your
the
eyes
same.
open with your head bowed or not?
Open, but more towards their own feet.
Okie dokie. Victor, where are you looking?
I think seeing Ruby do that, I would have followed suit.
I would counter that by saying you don't see Ruby do that. You don't see Ruby
Oh,
at
no.
all.
Ah, shit. Okay, then. Victor is naturally really inquisitive and will look straight at whatever's talking to him.
So this reflection, you can see sort of like when you look in a pane of glass and you can see through the glass at what's behind it. You also see like a ghost reflection of what's on your side, especially if it's well lit. And while this area is particularly dark, you can imagine that had you not had dark vision, you wouldn't be able to see this reflection. But thanking Ash here, you are all now capable of seeing some element of reflection in this mirror. And you don't see the people stood next to you when you go to look at them. You're on your own. But when you look at the reflection in the mirror, you see everybody but yourself. And each of you hears this voice in your head. What can I help you with?
Oh, I think
You
we
know,
had
I was-
wanted to try and return Olakoi.
Yes. Yeah, I say the same thing. In my
You
head.
don't hear what Aldrin said. You're
No, but I
completely
would say- I
alone,
would say
but
the
you
same
would be
thing.
you would be saying the same thing. Okay, each of
Yeah,
you are
no,
having
I-
your own individual conversation with this being, basically.
I would also be wishing for Olakoi.
What does Ruby
Azariah.
say?
Ruby won't communicate. Ruby will just bow her head.
Okay,
Still.
Isabel.
I will be wishing for the koi because I want to kind of save our souls.
Mm-hmm. I think that Briar would be on the same lines. So I think Briar would say that as well. Interesting. One of your group is not how they seem.
Is that said again to all of us?
Yeah.
Not there, so we can't talk
You're very
Hmm.
quiet, like it's dimming your voice a lot.
Sorry. Yes, well, we can't see our friends, can we? So there's no way for us to talk. Um,
Well,
It is
Yeah, but
interesting
I can
that you
see
ask
you.
for this being.
it wasn't his time.
yes,
We need to right a wrong.
we made a mistake.
I'm very sorry.
It's interesting. You all seem to have the same response to each other. Did you rehearse this?
No.
No, I think we just kind of knew who we were all coming here to try and, get back, because we goofed. It was dumb.
You see some shifting in their side of the mirror. There's some sort of like movement, like they're uncomfortable and they're trying to sort of get in the right position.
You
This
need a pillow.
I am beyond the point of pillows.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This situation, that it was not their time. Will it ever be their time, do you think?
Their brother said it would be, just it wasn't yet.
Someday, everybody has their time.
Nothing can live forever. But I don't think it's forever was over yet.
I get to decide.
Let me ask you, what is the difference between life and death?
Where your soul resides.
Where you go until you're born again.
There is no difference, in some ways.
One is short and the other is endless.
But also, without death, there can be no rebirth.
Hmm.
I know, all just part of the same cycle. I mean, if you think about a leaf.
Interesting. What would you do to a stranger?
Treat them with kindness.
Say hello.
Can death be a kindness?
Depending.
Yes.
Yes.
In the right situation.
I understand. I have one question. Why has your friend not spoken yet? Each of you can now see Ruby. Head bowed.
She's very respectful like that. And sometimes, doesn't want to be rude. So, just kind of keeps quiet.
Perhaps
That's
she's
what I've
just trying to
noticed.
be respectful of you
Maybe
with
she's
the power
scared.
that you hold.
Let me ask you this question. Ruby, do you find it polite or respectful to not answer when a god asks you a question?
I do not want to be disrespectful, but I believe I have to answer, and I should answer to only one. being, and I have not made that promise to you.
I have asked all that I must. It's that time of year.
When the hollow dance and cheer.
When the hollow dance and cheer.
Yeah.
One hollow dance and cheer.
When the hollow dance and cheer.
Briar repeats the same thing. The light in this dark place, wherever this being is, must reflect by something, as if someone's just walked in front of something, and you just see like a shift in the shadow across what you assume to be a flat surface at one point, but then you realize that it's actually this being's face. And you see this horrible, ragged thing with like dark tendril veins going all the way down their neck and into their body. This awful, sallow lump of a person, and then a second later it's dark again, and you can't see anymore. And as that movement happens, the mirror shimmers out of nothing, and the last thing that you hear coming through from the other side is, "When the empty scream in fear." And the flames in the sky extinguish. They come down as bolts of flame into every single person around this fire, except for you six. And every one of these creatures, the owl bear, the bugbear, the commoner, the chul, all of them scream in terror and are reduced to cinders. And that flame in the center that was extinguished by the scrying screen, you now see has returned. And as it dies down into nothing, stood in the center of it is Olokoi. And that is where we will end our session.
Oh, shit.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Did I just see a minus dead
Yes.
come up from
Yeah,
Oil
you
Koi
did.
just then?
You did? Because he still had the status effect of being dead. So I had to undo the status effect
That
of
was really
dead.
amusing.
Yeah. He also gets a long rest now.
Also, I hope everyone I'm enjoying the Twitch chat. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
no one can blame me
Ah,
this
shit.
time, and Steve's like,
Yeah.
literally everyone else can be blamed.
Ah, shit. No. Ah, shit. I refuse to blame him this time. What? Yeah, I was enjoying that as well. I was very much enjoying that. Olokoi returned to life. Everybody else is dead. Seems like you might have made it through that, answering potentially the right answers. Who's to say? I hope that was a satisfactory Halloween session for everybody. Was that spooky enough?
Yeah.
You gave me chills when you scream in fear. Like, how dare you?
And they just burned everybody alive.
Yeah.
We just sacrificed everybody.
Toasty.
Yeah.
I may or may not have burst out laughing when you did that, because I was like, you know what? Everyone else can have their comeuppance.
I laid the clues there. I always lay the clues there. The cleric, Penelope Ringtail, said that nasty things happen around that time and they all huddle together to keep away from it. Nasty things to a cleric is like, people die a lot. But you never asked the question.
It was very obvious when, like, no one ever had come back or could say what had happened. It was very evident that no one does come back.
Exactly. But yeah,
Yep.
that's the answer to you.
Zombie.
A life for a life. And if you're bringing back an immortal being, then yeah, you've got to sacrifice a whole lot of lives.
Everyone is welcome to take 1 level in Warlock.
This
We're
is
all
not
friends.
this is not guaranteed to save ourselves, though, is it? Not really.
I mean,
No.
Hey,
Now- and
speak
now
for
we
your
gotta deal
own.
with the
Speak
angry
for your
guy
own
that
soul.
and revive.
I have sorted my soul place.
Yeah.
We don't even know
Yeah,
if
yeah,
this guy
yeah.
wanted to be killed or to be revived.
No,
Like,
no, no.
we
He
just
definitely
popped
did not
up,
want to be
killed
killed.
this guy while he was doing
really...
his job, and then, went out of our way to bring him back to life. After he got a visit from his brother.
Die, Mars,
Don't be
because
so
he really tried to
but-
leave us and get us to leave him alone. But some of us succeeded the wisdom save.
Very true. Very true. But it's also like, well, once he's already dead, did he really want to be brought back? Was it better? Was
I'm
it
not
worse?
sure it's
Who
him we
knows?
necessarily needed
Maybe
to
that's
worry
a question
about.
you
I
need
think
to
it
ask
may have
him
been his
about.
brother.
Yeah, maybe that's a question you need to pose to him. Well, thank you everybody for being here for this lovely Halloween session. I'm glad that I could make it spooky enough for you. I've been trying my absolute best to rack my brain about how I should go ahead with this whole episode. And I feel like I have done it justice, potentially. I tried my absolute hardest to make something that would be terrifying, but continue on the story, and give you a glimpse into something else too. I am curious who you think that dark stranger might be.
I don't know. I think that's Loki, a Norse god.
Okie. Any other theories?
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
He was very
no,
Transylvanian,
I
so I'm not
agree.
sure.
I'm
I have
working
no
on it.
idea.
It's
Nice.
another Ruby.
Well, I don't think it's my friend. I can tell you that. There's a voice to that, and that's not the voice that Jackal used.
Oh, very different.
Wasn't a Scottish
very
woman.
different.
It's Rumpelstiltskin.
It's
The whole time.
Rumpelstiltskin. Rumpelstiltskin is the secret BBEG all along. I was very curious who you
think
would
it's
all
the
be
man in the
wanting to
mirror.
bring back. Michael Jackson? I think that you were all.
That's a thriller.
I was. Hey, yep. Take 1d6 psychic damage for that one. Yeah, I was very curious who you would all bring back. I actually did, I was very curious of who you might bring back.
I kind of
I mean,
wanted
if we-
to vote Ruby.
if
Bring
we
back an
hadn't-
army of rubies.
If we hadn't have killed Olakoi, I would have tried to bring my mom back. But
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of got to bring Olakoi back.
I mean, imagine if you'd had this opportunity and you hadn't killed Olakoi.
Oh,
Imagine if
I'm
this
trying to
had
try to
still
bring my
been
mom back.
here and you had not done that. Who would each of you have brought back, do you think? I know Ash is saying your mom. Who else might there be?
Big Red.
Maybe, but
Sir Curly.
yeah, probably. That's the only person that Victor knows that is dead, and they would have been. We know that they're like one of the kind of keystones. So, I guess Big Red
Mm-hmm.
for me.
I think Ruby is pissed off at Crimson and Burgundy, and knows where they are. So in truth, logic in my head for where Ruby's at right now would consider to bring back Ruby Joy because she doesn't know how she ended up being cloned, like how she got to that point. She knows she was, but she doesn't know how she got there.
Right.
Obviously, she knows why, but not the how. So
Fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough. Well, I think that this whole thing was a very great episode. Personally, I really enjoyed that. I just have another question for everybody. Does anybody have anything that they would like to promo of themselves? I'm gonna try and remember to do this every stream that I have now, where it's collaborative. I want people to be shouting about what they're doing right now. Is there any kind of work that you're out for? Are you putting yourself up for commission artwork, for instance?
funny
Is
thing
there a
happened
stream
last
that
night.
you're looking
Streaming
to
later
do?
today.
So
Yeah,
go and
just
check out
taking
World of Mars on
taking a
stream,
little break after
please.
this, and then I'll be on stream tonight with Dead Space and Little Nightmares.
If you're not
Got
following
'em
Mars already,
downloaded.
go and follow them. Please do.
If you're not following Mars, you're cringe.
You are cringe. Anybody got anything else that they're doing right now that they'd like to shout out?
I am not in a position to promo myself for anything.
I'm gonna
I
be
will.
bleaching my hair later and going back to blue.
Ooh.
let's
Pics.
Don't worry, there will be some.
Nice.
Pixel didn't happen.
Yeah, Pixar didn't happen.
Yeah, look, I know the old ways. I remember well. I was there.
I was there at the turning of the die. Okay, Ruby.
I will not shout out myself. I will shout out Murmurs in the Night. Go check out their piratey stories online.
Love that. Does Murmur stream?
Murmurs does not stream. Murmurs writes thousands and thousands of words.
Oh.
It's as if they're Murmurs in the Night.
Oh. Have we got a link for that I could post?
I typed it in chat at least.
Yeah. Murmurs in the Night. Murmurs in the Night on AO3.
On
I think.
AO3? I don't know what AO3 is. A
She's
URL.
there. She can post her own link.
Yeah, I would
Post
have
your
to
own
approve
link.
it. It's easy. Yeah, it's easy if you send it to me and then I can post it for you. Because otherwise, it's just going to
Bear with.
auto deny it. Send me a whisper. Send me a Twitch whisper, and I can post it for you.
I'm on it. Pass the buck.
I just went to type in Twitch and I typed it without a C, like Twith.
Oh, that's nice.
Twith. Are you sending me this in Discord or in
Twitch.
Twitch?
Bear with me.
Twitch. Okay,
I'm
cool.
getting there. Just bear with. I'm a slowpoke. There you go.
I also
Boom.
might be streaming a little bit of a scary game later too.
Ah, I love that.
Depends on how long my hair takes.
Please go and check this out. This is Murmurs in the Night. I know that Murmurs is a good friend of Bee's, and Bee only has good taste in friends. That's why I'm friends with her. So, you know, just shouting
that's
out
exactly
myself
right.
at the same time. Got to make it all about me.
I have though in fact never punched Murmurs in the balls, so you know.
Well, that's probably true of many of your friends, though, to be fair.
Yeah, you haven't punched me in the balls.
Yeah.
Nor me.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll happily punch anyone in the balls to prove my
Let's
friendship.
go.
Okay, let's go. Let's do
That's what I'm
this.
talking about. True
Steve,
friendship right there.
Steve, you're in our city. Let's go. Let's do this. We can live stream.
I will do it tomorrow.
Wait, am I
Yeah.
getting punched in the balls? Is that what...
Yeah, you're getting punched in the balls.
You've been
Yeah,
volunteering.
yeah.
I was gonna say, I think I could
ball punch.
I could potentially hunt any Brit person down, punch him in the balls.
That's
Also,
the friendship. You got to prove you're a friend by taking one in the balls.
I also, before we get into the raid thing, I'm just going to bring up one final thing. I think that a party that ritual brings back a dead immortal being together, slays together, and you need to put together the name of your party for once and for all. You know,
Gouda guys.
you could be the Gouda guys, but we've got to put a nail in this. What's it actually going to be? I'll give you until next time to think about this so that we can start workshopping it properly. But
Gouda
let's get
guys.
thinking about this. You guys need to have a party name. Right, let's have a look at who is online that we can
We did kill a
raid
demigod
into.
and then bring them
Link my
back.
Instagram on the Twitch stream as well. There you go. Everyone can go and have a look at my drawings.
If you can't find anyone, I have a friend
Ah,
who is.
I
doing one.
need, yeah, if you just send that to me because it will automatically decline you to
Oh,
do
it
that.
automatically deleted it. You are
Yeah, it does because only the moderators and the streamer is allowed to do it. So yeah, if you just send that
Send it
link to me, great, got it.
It just looks like you've written a swear word, Steve.
Yeah,
'cause
you
it's
just-
just
Yeah, it
all
does. It
bricks.
does.
I
It does.
did.
This
Well, that's
is
really cool.
Steve's
It just says
Instagram.
ants.
Go and have a look at Steve's Instagram. Steve is an incredible illustrator and artist. Steve went to university with me. Steve has graduated this summer, just gone, as already having a lot of artwork and artistic skill under his belt already. But now he's got a BA to his name, so we all know what that means. We all know what that means. That's a very useful thing that will get you a lot of work.
Yeah, the guy in the A team had a BA before his name, and he was a badass, right?
Yeah,
Well,
and you're I think you're growing out a mohawk as well, right?
No, I have a rat tail. It's very long currently.
I'm
I've
growing
got
out a
a
mohawk.
completely shaved head apart from my rat tail, which is
Y'all can grow your hair. I'm gonna cut mine.
down between my
I'm
shoulders.
only growing the top. I'm shaving the sides and
Nice.
part of the back.
I have a all the way around undercut, about halfway up my head.
Nice.
But the top,
I
I'm
used to have an
cutting to,
undercut.
like, just about shoulder length.
I-
Right now,
Jackal,
it's
did
the
you
middle
need
of
a
my
raid
back.
target?
I was thinking of going towards Yumi as a Mav T. Is that someone that
Yumi's
Ken
on?
supports?
That's Yumisama.
That's it, Yumisama VT.
There's
That's who
also
I was thinking of
Amazing
doing.
A who's on.
So-
and Sassy Bear
One, but-
Clarence is on.
I've seen Sassy on as well, yeah. I
Yeah.
think because we've not raided to Yumi before, we're going to go for them.
Maybe
Now, if
we
you
can
are
come
following, then use raid message 1. If you are subbed, use raid message number 2. We are going to go and pop over to our friend Yumi, as I've not had the pleasure of raiding them yet. As ever, I'd like to just say thank you to everybody for being here. It's very cool that you are. At the moment, I'm on the creep to 300 followers on Twitch. I'm only 4 away. So close to getting
Let's
300
go.
followers. But, it'll
We'll
come
hit
in
that
time,
in
and
no
I'm
time.
happy to wait for it. It's just got to happen when it happens, Because if you try and rush
When's
these
the
things,
next
then you get the wrong kind of
48-hour
followers.
stream?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, look, it might be sometime around Christmas because my birthday will be at the start of January, and usually I do a
Oh
birthday
yeah, you're nearly
subathon.
50.
60, 60.
Looking
But
forward
yeah,
to you.
Oh, I do apologise.
yeah. So I will have my birthday in January. So in the next few months, I will be doing another subathon. So what is we now? We're at the start of November-ish. So in just over 2 months, there will be another subathon, and more forfeits for everybody. You're so welcome,
Nice.
daughter. I hope that everybody has a lovely, lovely time. Remember, if you can't be good to yourself, then at least have fun. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Love you.
Bye.
Doodle pip.
Bye.
Doodle pip.
Bye. 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 Bye.
I'm
Bye.
glad that I was
Bye.
able
Bye.
to show up at the end.